Give me that again. Give the camera that again.
The cheapest machine could be your most expensive investment.
Today you're Matt Gabbett, and what's your position at SCM Group?
National sales manager. You know, it's a vocation. You got to get invested. You can't be half pregnant with this. You got to get in. So many times in this industry, we see a great cabinet maker, but you go into their business and you automatically know they just don't have a clue about running a business.
I personally feel like our industry has become a case of the blind leading the blind.
Customers are getting emails saying, hey, look, we've just noticed this anomaly. This could be a chance of happening. Have a look at it. Might be worth ordering the part.
That's why we have predictive maintenance.
Absolutely. It's crystal ball stuff.
Automation creates problems when?
Adding automation to a bad process just means you have bad process with automation involved. You're setting yourself up to fail, aren't you?
Many good men would work too hard,
Mm-hmm.
and the result for working hard was a family that was lost because they were absent.
Yeah. But I think ultimately it's the betterment, isn't it? You want your freedom, you want a better life for your family. If those things aren't coming with the terrain, what the hell are you doing?
What's some words of wisdom that you could share with us on what we're about to embark on as this next phase?
Yeah, look,
Because people are anxious and unsure on what's going to happen.
you can't be.
In any case, what is high end? Yeah.
Okay, we call it an engineering line, an engineering product. So,
Okay.
A bespoke solution, more or less.
Okay. Which is not a machine that you can buy,
not off the shelf, not off the shelf.
but it can be made for you.
Absolutely, yeah. So
One-offs.
Yeah, very much. So you've got situations where people come to you with a problem, and then you've just got to look at all the data and say, right, how much are you producing? How soon do you need to produce? All of these sort of things.
Okay. Yeah. So you talk to the Brains Trust.
Yeah, you look. We have an engineering department who take all that information and then put it into something tangible for the
Yeah.
customer. So, that could be anything. They look at the production that needs to be done and they go, okay, this is the solution that you need based on the confines that you've given us. This is the size of the factory you've got. This is what we've got to play with. This is how much you need to get out in a day.
So a cabinet maker can come to you with something that or a problem they're facing, give you the data sets, and at SCM Group Australia and abroad,
Yep.
you can come back with what's called a high-end or an engineered solution just for them.
Absolutely. Yep. So
That's unreal.
so, yeah. It's quite a common thing that we do. It's, I suppose, if you look at the, have we started?
We've always started.
Okay. So I think if you
Don't worry, nothing has to change.
Cool. Yeah.
What gave it away?
No. So if you look at the progress and the trajectory of SCM, 1950s, early 1950s.
Yeah.
They've started doing small traditional machines, little saws, little spindle molders, little combination machines. Progressing on and on and on, they've really built the company by acquisition in a lot of respects.
Right.
So where they wanted to get into a technology and they didn't have that technology, they'd buy a company that did that technology well. Morbidelli CNCs, Gabbett beam saws, DMC white belt sanders, just a few examples. Recent years, we've had movement into other sectors apart from wood. So CMS, which is a company that they've acquired in the early 2000s in the north of Italy, that do a lot of composite material, machining of aluminium, glass, stone.
Is that Mekal? Is that how you pronounce it?
No, that's another one. So
Another one.
That happened about 18 months ago. So that's aluminium processing, so predominantly windows and doors.
Yes.
We've started bringing Mekal into the country last year with some success.
Awesome.
We're basically introducing a brand into Australia that hasn't had a lot of representation here in the past before SCM. So that has its own challenges.
For sure it will. And these are all Italian brands?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Okay. There is some companies that SCM that own that aren't Italian, German, for example, and in the US, but predominantly we're looking at Italian manufacturing. Italian companies, Italian manufacturing.
And their biggest growth channel is acquisition of other Italian brands who have products that they don't currently have or technologies that they didn't currently have.
Correct. Yeah.
They buy them and add them on.
Yes.
And then this baby or this beast just keeps on growing.
Yeah, and it isn't. If you can imagine, it's not like Lego. You're just chucking that chunk on. You know, it's it's integration. So you know, you're looking at the big picture and going, okay, how does that fit into the scheme of this?
Yes.
You know, it's not just an add-on.
So if a cabinet maker wants to buy an SCM machine and they already have some other stuff, when you talk about integration, what does that look like for them?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, because just very, very recently, SCM's acquired another company called TechNest, which is a software company that focuses on MES software.
Okay.
So this is a bit of a game changer, I feel, because you know now you've got a situation where you could have a customer with a whole bunch of different things that now we can monitor through MES software. So you know, and you know, even if there's not the possibility to integrate directly from a machine, so that the machine doesn't have the smarts, it could be a tablet next to the machine to understand.
And so, what does the acquisition of TechNest do now? What does it actually look like in a Aussie joiner shop? What changes?
I think the brilliance of something like MES is you can now understand exactly what's going through your factory at the pace that it's going through your factory, and ways to improve on that too. So you can see you can see what's good, you can see what's bad, you can see what needs changing.
So visibility,
absolute full visibility. But I think the other important thing too, and this is tangible.
Yeah.
You know, someone rings you up and says, "Can I have that next week?"
That happens every day, right?
Yeah. You got an answer. You got a real answer. You're not like, oh, I think so.
Okay, because you can see where it is.
You can see where it is. You can see if you've got the possibility to do it.
And how is the MES functionality different to the ERP stuff that people would currently be using?
I think it just gives you a lot more visibility over the whole situation.
Okay.
Rather than just ERP. So, yeah, you know, like it like I said, you know, we can put a tablet on a forklift and understand what's not right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Is the guy going backwards and forwards? Is he, you know?
Sure.
So there's a lot of possibilities in that space that I think a lot of customers could benefit from. I mean, yeah, everyone has inefficiencies in their business.
Cabinet makers in Australia are struggling now more than ever, perhaps, as things are getting more expensive and margins get tighter. This new way of working that SCM is bringing forward, how does that help them? They're watching this video and they want to hear what they can do.
Yeah.
What's the tangible result that they can have from contacting a company like SCM?
I think what I've always liked about SCM, and you know, I've always enjoyed being part of it, is it really is a one-stop shop. You know, so you can look at any aspect of your business and we can work in that function. So, you know, adding something like this MES software just completes the package for someone.
Do you think you just keep raising the bar as a company?
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. No, and you know, I mean, I think as a company you have to, don't you? I mean, the day you've got everything right, you shut the doors. What's the point?
And this is interesting coming from you because you've got history.
Sure, right? Yeah.
So you're Matt Gabbett, but before you're at SCM, you were somewhere else.
Yeah. Let's not go too far. I'm a poor cousin, but yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. So yeah, my uncle Barry had a business called Gabbett Machinery, which was the SCM dealer prior to SCM being in Australia and as a subsidiary. So Gabbett Machinery had the agency for about 20 years. I think we were an official SCM agent from 2000, but we did have some dealings with SCM prior to that. So there was a good 20-year history with SCM growing with them. I think beneficial for both parties.
And what's the difference between being a dealer and being a subsidiary?
It's I think the good and the bad, but not the good and the bad.
No,
the good things that you take away from both. So, at the end of the day, someone in Australia has an Australian person that understands the Australian industry, that's been in the industry for a long time and understands what needs to be done.
And that's the dealer?
That's the dealer,
Okay.
or in this instance, the people that came from the dealer. When SCM acquired when SCM acquired Gabbett Machinery, most of the people came along.
So an Italian company says, I like what these Aussies are doing, buys the Aussie company, relabels it and says it's now called SCM Group Australia. What is the difference for the cabinet maker who is buying his machines from those companies?
So
what's the benefit?
So you're still dealing with the same people that you know and love and you trust. That's fine. But now we're just tapped into something so much bigger. So we're looking at a global industrial ecological system that we can just pick from everything. You know, we now understand what they're doing. We can see what's happened in other countries. We've got proof of life. We've just got this much bigger.
More.
There's more of the same. Bigger, better, harder, faster, stronger. You know, it's just the same. It's the same but better.
Yeah, everything you'd want to hear when you're trying to make money in manufacturing.
Yep.
And so what happens to service, and also what happens to the price of machinery when something goes from dealer to subsidiary? Is there anything noticeable?
Price-wise, very, very similar. You know, SCM has a market price that you know our dealers have to respect. So I mean, you know, there might be a little bit of variance in freight and labour costs and things like that. But yeah, all in all,
it's pretty level.
It's pretty level. I think from a
the service.
The service. That's a huge thing, and it's been such a focus of SCM in the last 5 to 10 years. You know, as the race gets harder to run, you really need that back of house to just come forward and just help you at every given opportunity. So, you know, I don't want to say machines are machines because they're not, but I mean when you look at technology, you know, AI is just going to blow the roof off everything, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
I'm sure we're going to talk about it a lot shortly, but you know, if we look at machinery, and I'm prone not to say this because I'll be proven wrong in 5 minutes, but you know, you look at something and you go,
you can always cut it out.
Yeah, but you look at something and you go, well, what else can they do? And you know, every time I've said that, I've just gone, oh well, they can do something else because they've done something else. You know, like it never stops. So
your human reaction to what you see is, well, that's the bee's knees. We've hit the best. What else is there to be done?
Yeah, but I don't like. I always say that, but it always gets a little bit better. So. And
because you know that you're happy to proverbially eat those words because you're waiting for the next best thing to come out.
Exactly. But even though that's my thoughts.
Yes.
From a technology point of view, you know, we are fairly saturated. You know,
right?
We're not. You know, the next thing isn't going to be a 20% increase. It's going to be, we're talking about a lot of 1%ers from here on in.
Marginal increases.
Yeah. Where if you look at digital and you look at after sales and what AI can actually do in that space, that's pretty exciting.
And is there a world that we're seeing where SCM starts touching on, through TechNest, MES, and other solutions, a really full end-to-end, more unified platform?
Yeah, we're already there. We're already there. We're already getting into it. So, look, the whole premise, if you like, is, you know, we just don't want to sell a machine. We want to partner with someone strategically through the whole process. And that can be through the process of one machine, if that's all they're going to do, or the process of their whole career. So, you know, we put a machine in. We monitor that machine. We understand where the customer can be doing better, where their inefficiencies are. Predictive maintenance.
I love that one, and that's a topic for later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Predictive maintenance. And then again, just looking at all of that data at an event and saying, okay, well, we can improve here, 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 and here. What's your next step for you? You know, that's cool. It's crystal ball stuff. It really is. You know, like these are the things that you've always known in a business, but you just couldn't put your finger on.
What year did you start selling machines?
2002 for me.
And you call it crystal ball.
Yeah.
In 2002, so 24 years ago.
Yep.
I'm not going to ask, could you have known this is where it's headed? But when you would have envisioned a better world and things changing, could you see that this was remotely on the horizon?
No, not for me.
Not for you.
No, not for me. Well, look, you don't know what AI is going to do tomorrow.
I know.
That's
right?
Which is just,
Insane.
hang on. Could I see a better world? Yeah. Could I see it look like this? Not a chance.
Okay.
Yeah, not a chance.
And what are the feelings that come up like 20 years later when the thing you thought was going to be better is happening and you're at the forefront of a company that's making that happen?
It's pretty exciting.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting.
Talk to us about that feeling of somebody who's just a titan in the industry. I spoke to a friend of ours and he called you a laughable larrikin. And then I said to him, can you tell me more? He said, not on the phone call. Maybe when I see you at a pub or at a bar. And then I asked him, pushed on him, and he just said, Matt Gabbett is the kind of guy that will always have your back, make you laugh, and does what he says and says what he does.
Well, that's very nice.
And so in my background research, I was really happy to hear that more than once.
Oh, good.
And I thought laughable larrikin is a great thing to have.
Oh, yeah. Well,
what a title.
You got to laugh.
You've earned that reputation by showing perseverance, if you will, in an industry that's changed or changing, but you've just been you all the time and have grown in that.
Sure.
Today, you're Matt Gabbett, and what's your position at SCM Group?
National Sales Manager.
24 years ago, that wasn't you.
No, that was not me, no.
Tell us about that journey on a very human level.
Well, okay. Look, it's... okay. Yeah, I've never put it into steps, but
right.
But look, I suppose at the base of it, there was a conversation with Barry Gabbett about around the 2000s about careers and what could be, what couldn't be, and I'd been in sales at that point, but I wouldn't say
not a salesman,
capital equipment, and certainly not this centric to woodworking.
Okay.
So he asked me some questions. I failed all of them, and that was the end of the conversation for a little while.
Okay.
But we circled back to it a couple of times, and maybe he started to feel a little bit more comfortable about it. And I was definitely interested in exploring it. And
awesome.
I think, especially capital equipment, but especially in an industry that's not big, it's quite small. It's a vocation. It's not.
It is a vocation.
It's not a 1 or 2 year job. I think you got to get invested. You can't be half pregnant with this. You got to get in. So there was I think even in the early days there was a conversation. Look, this is going to work in 6 months or it's not.
Yes.
So we got past the first 6 months. We said, okay, this is looking all right. This is okay. We got past the next year. That's good. And next thing you know, you're 10 years down the track, and you know a lot of people, and you've sold a lot of machines, and you've helped a lot of people, and it's you're in it, you're invested. And that's it now. I'm invested. I'm invested in this industry.
And I think you earned your reputation on the back of that, which is you've always delivered and come through. And
I'd like to think I have.
Well, you have. I spoke to a theoretically competition. So Scott Hickey from Anderson, Australia.
Sure.
And I said, hey, SEM's coming on the podcast. And he goes, tell me you got Matt Gabbett. I go, yeah, why? He goes, top bloke. And I thought, well, great. I mean, how good is that?
That's nice. That's good.
Not only did we hear it from your clients in the past and present,
sure,
but also from others who would effectively be doing what you do.
Sure.
You say it's a vocation, and therefore, in some degree, it's a calling.
Yep.
Is it that's where you fell in 20 years ago, when now you're comfortable in that position? Or over time, you develop a love for the people and the trade that we're in?
I love the industry. And I mean, I say I'm invested. It's not like I can't go somewhere else.
For sure.
I'd give anything a shot, but I just, this feels comfortable. This feels where I want to be. It just feels right. So. And
it doesn't come from a place of contentment or comfort in the lazy aspect as much as it is, I know who I am, what I'm doing, and I can see where we're going. And those times ahead are really exciting for this company, and I want to steer this ship with them.
Certainly there's that level of comfort, but the other side, I mean, especially with SCM, I mean, so we've only been SCM for 10 years. That sounds funny coming out of my mouth, but 10 years is not a long time.
Is that a small time for dealer subsidiary machinery?
I think it's a small time for what we've achieved, because we've we've been going bull at a gate for quite a while.
And are you able to share what some of those accomplishments may be?
Look, I think in general, I won't go too deep, but I think
Of course.
in too general, like it's probably we've got to assimilate back to, we have something locally that is of interest to people, but that has to be SCM now as well. So there's this simulation that has to happen, but it's got to be unique, and it's got to be manageable, and it's got to be sustainable. So that can be a little bit of a juggling act sometimes. You take a few steps that way and go, no, that's the wrong direction. We've got to go back there.
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, they've done this around the world plenty of times, but this is the first time I've done it, and this is the first time they've done it in Australia. So
it's new.
There's no path. There's no
sure.
path. So
what feelings arise when you're forging a new path with a company as big as SCM in effectively what is a new country for them?
Yeah. I'm incredibly proud of what we've achieved in 10 years. I think there's still plenty of work to do. And there's from an industry point of view, we've got to get the message out that we can do that, but we can do that. So where do you sit in there? Because we got you.
There's a young bloke watching this, probably mid-20s, had enough of his boss, sick of it, screw it, I'm going to go out and do it on my own.
Yeah.
He's watching this podcast and he's trying to learn what to do next.
Yep.
What are some of the mistakes you see of not just young men, but people in general when it just comes to machinery?
Probably number one mistake, and it's not a 20-year-old guy, it's everybody, process. Have your process in place. So, okay, it's not just a matter of I'm going to go out and... Yeah. So many times in this industry, we see a great cabinet maker. Okay, but you go into their business and you automatically know that they just don't have a clue about running a business.
Yeah.
You this is resonating.
Yeah.
No, but it isn't it? Because it's just, if you're an accountant, if you're a doctor, if you're anything that went to university, you constantly have to go back and tap in to stay up to date.
Yeah, for sure.
A trade shouldn't be any different. And really, a trade qualification gets you the ability to make something.
Yeah, and to practice the art.
Yeah. But why aren't we focusing on business? Because I mean that's what we're talking about. We're manufacturers. We're not cabinet makers. We're in a manufacturing business.
Why do you think that's so prevalent in Australia? And can you compare it to things you've seen in other countries?
I can't really compare it to things I've seen in other countries, but I would say, and this is just a general broad brush statement.
Yeah.
In a lot of instances, you've got a guy that left school at 16, went into his apprenticeship, went and worked in a company with a guy who was the boss, who left school at 16.
All went from his father.
So on and so forth. Just sins of the father coming through. So no, So there's just this. I learned everything from him, but really that guy didn't really know that much. He only knew what he knew. I
personally feel like our industry has become a case of the blind leading the blind, and with minor adjustments, we think we've advanced. But if we would look at ourselves, we'd see that we haven't really learned. We've just taken on habits.
Yep.
Adapted habits. And when we come in to understand their business better and to build systems and software around what they do and processes at our company, we realize that they really don't know.
Yep.
And it's just under the surface of asking the word why twice.
I don't remember, 20, 25 years ago, people talking about joinery mentors or cabinet making mentors.
Wasn't a thing?
No.
Not that you
Not
recall.
that I remember.
Yeah.
And I'd say probably the last 10 years, 15 years. It's more prevalent. You hear more people say, well, I got a coach.
Yes.
And it's so important,
It's so exciting that I should ask you, as a machine company, what's the most important thing? And that your response would be processes.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have someone come in and said, here's the money I've got, I want to buy the top of the range machine, and you've been like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it happens.
Does it happen?
It happens. And it's get the blinkers off. So quite often you may not be the first guy to the party. and they come to you and they say, right, I want this inventory system, I want 2 CNCs there, and I want a beam saw.
Okay.
And you go, why? What? Hang on, no. We don't do it like that.
Now you're in the business of selling machinery.
Yeah.
But there's a moral compass.
Well, it's even more than that. It's mate, I don't know what you're doing.
Okay.
I've got no idea what you're doing.
Okay.
We need to have a talk about this.
Right.
Because it may well be the case that, I mean, look, someone has done the work on based on what they can do. So I'm not going to say that the competitor did the wrong thing.
Agreed.
But we might have a solution that's absolutely, totally different to what the competitor has.
Okay.
Can blow them out of the water.
Yeah.
And we might be able to do it with 1 CNC.
So currently what we're saying is if somebody wants to buy machinery, there may be an idea of either asking their mates, asking a coach, asking around, going to other brands, and let's name them for what they are, right? We've got BSC, we've got Homag, we've got Woodtron, Anderson, Chinese, Italian, we've got things happening.
Yeah.
They might go to another brand, take that list that they provide them, and then come to you and say, beat it or match it. And you look at it and you say, well, hold up a minute here.
Yeah.
A, as of who I am and my reputation, and B, from a moral point of view, I can't just do that because what if that actually isn't the best solution for your business?
Yeah, and there's a lot of situations that you can fall into when someone says, "I just want that," and really, it's not what we're about. It's not what we do. Actually, all the cabinet making businesses that I've ever met have one thing in common: they're all different. So you can't just say, "I'm a mate down the road's got that. I'll buy that."
Good for you, mate.
Yeah, you got to. It might work for him.
Yeah,
but he never spoke to me, so maybe I got something better anyway.
Yeah, okay.
But you've got to look at the stats.
And is there an obligation when they come to someone like you that when you'll help them go through the process to buy anything from you, or could they seek your opinion and guidance on what was best without commitment?
Look, I think at the end of the day, they've got to be comfortable with the decision they make. So if you put up with something and it's not sitting with them, well, there's no obligation at all, obviously. Okay. But I mean, from our side too, if we put that up, we're putting it out there.
We're doing our best.
Yeah, we've got to. And there has been situations where I say, okay, well, this is our solution, but honestly, it's not quite what you want. And it's better to walk away from something than give something the wrong solution.
Right, and then I mean, watching this video, someone will think, well, you're a salesman, you just want to sell machines. Why is that not actually true? Whilst that is true and foundationally the aim of a machinery company, why is that not true to you as an individual?
I don't think you would sustain yourself in an industry this small
for that many years
if you were a crook.
Right.
The word would get around far too fast.
And part of the due diligence of a cabinet maker, whether they're upgrading machinery or buying new machinery, should be to stop into someone like SCM Group and seek some advice and see what there is actually available.
You've got to do your research.
You've just got to do it.
And SCM definitely should be on your list.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time that you can recall where somebody wanted to buy a machine, you said it's not the right thing, and then they came back and thanked you or brought more machines because it was the right business move?
I've missed the boat and caught another boat later. Yeah, absolutely. But I think that I think that probably adds to your credibility too. I mean, like you say, I would hate to think that people think of us like the way we think of used car salespeople. I've made a living doing this, but I don't sell anything to everyone. It's sometimes you don't have the right solution, and you've just got to say, hey, this mightn't be right for you. And do you only sell new machines, or is there secondhand machines, like certified, dealer certified? Look, we do very little of it. A lot of that sort of goes through our dealer network. Okay. Every once in a while, we see something that's late model that could be interesting to someone, so we'll eyeball that. But at the end of the day, we're keeping a factory running. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And has anyone ever brought machines, or have companies brought machines and then gone under, and then you're stuck with taking them back? Well, yeah, from a payment scheme, we never really stuck with them, if that makes sense, because by the time they go to a customer's, they're not ours anymore. The bank's got to take them back, not us. Okay. Now we can have the conversation with the bank. Okay. Yeah, and does that happen? It has happened, but it's not very common. I mean, it happens in every business, right? Of course it does. Yeah. people overinvest, or you just, again, might be a process issue there.
What was the biggest setup that you were proud of that you can recall today, and you're like, wow, that was something else out of this world over the 24 years that you've had? You just think, geez, like that there is the bee's knees of machinery. Like, what a cabinet making business.
There's been a couple.
There's been a couple.
There's been a couple. But look, one of my favourites at the minute is we finished an installation at the end of last year in Perth of an inventory system with 4 CNCs off it. That just, and it's not just that.
4 CNCs is a lot, though.
It is. It's great. To look at it, yeah, yes, it's impressive. But I mean, it's not just that. It's, use this word again, process. You can just see that from the front door to the back door,
The whole thing.
the guy has thought of everything. Yeah.
That workplace.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting to know.
It is. It's just, there's just a place for everything and everything in its place. It's just right. It's just right. And I'm sure he's going, that should be better, which he should. But, just you see flow and you see it working.
A place for everything.
And everything in its place.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Not heard that before.
No, I haven't heard of it. It was really nice. You're a husband and a father.
I am a husband.
2 children?
Yes, 3 children.
3 children?
3 children.
My research showed me 2. How do you balance a busy work life and being a loving father and a caring husband?
I'd say unwell. You check with my wife; she'd probably say the same thing. No, look, it is hard. It is hard.
Definitely not easy.
No, not at all.
How do you do it? You are the man. You are the representative of the man watching this, who is working his ass off in his job, be it selling machines or probably longer hours, with all due respect to them, which is doing 12 hours a day, typical in the factory, trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
You've got a wife and kids, so do they. I mean, things are going up, things are tough.
Yep.
I mean, how do you manage so that maybe they could learn something from that? Because I'm always interested.
Yeah, I think at some point you've just got to say, well, I'm not going to sleep for a little while here. I don't know if I do this as well as I can do it. My wife's probably better to ask, but
okay. She'll get to watch this and give us
she'll sort it out.
Sure.
Everyone's got a role, and you got to define those roles, and sometimes you got to just do more than your role
at work and at home.
Absolutely,
sure.
Absolutely, and I try, and I don't always get it right, but I try because I'm away a lot.
You travel.
Yeah, and I just find that when I'm at home, there's a need to overcompensate.
Right, you're trying to make up for lost time.
Yeah, but I know she's done it hard the last few days, so I've got to do that for her.
You'll step up, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe I don't step up enough, but that's the mentality, that's the thought.
Okay.
But yeah, look, it's got to be hard at the moment for people.
Sure it is.
There's got to be. Yeah, you got to have that balance, and it's hard to maintain that balance,
And does traveling weigh on you? Have you been traveling your whole career?
Yeah, a fair bit of it, yeah. And I'd say there's more of it now than there has been.
Is it as fun as it used to be 20 years ago?
Fun.
It was never fun.
No, it is fun.
Pros and cons, right?
Pros and cons, absolutely. I mean, look, people say, "Oh, you've been here, you've been there." Yeah, mate, I can tell you where.
Well, you haven't been. Might be easier.
I can tell you where the cemetery and the sewerage plant is in any town in Australia, because typically they're right next to the industrial estate.
And the pub.
Yeah. So, yeah, look, I mean, you go a lot of places, you don't stop to smell the roses,
Talk to me about that. You just said you don't stop to smell the roses, and I'm probably one of the most guilty people I know.
Yeah, to stop and smell the roses?
Well, not to, but to try to.
Yeah.
How do you feel about not being able to, and knowing that you should? To enjoy life at what it is for where you're at, because it's all kind of moving too quick.
Yeah, well, it does. What do you do? So last year, I was managing Tasmania for a long time, 3, 4, 5 years, and mate, it's beautiful down there. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's
only when I was younger.
Okay, it's gorgeous, and you drive past so many things. You go, gee, that looks interesting. Gee, that looks nice. I could go there one day. And you always hear people talking about. I can't remember the place, but everyone's got a shack up at this place.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see what these shacks look like. like just on the beach.
Yeah.
Anyway, last year we had the opportunity for my wife and I just to duck away for the weekend.
Great.
And it was great. You know, we packed a lot into a weekend. But you know, it was just I can't understand how I've been here so many times and seen so little. I don't know a way around that. I mean, you know. You got a lot to do in a day, and then you get back to the hotel and you got pretty much everything you got to do that you didn't do in the day. So
right.
I think you've just got to make those moments like we did last year. Is probably my only answer to that.
This channel aims to help people who are running cabinet making businesses, not making enough money to make manufacturing more profitable, and in particular, their business.
Yep.
The other thing that it aims to do is help men who are struggling with what I think is impossible, which is balance.
Yeah.
The reason that was born was for me that I saw in my life many good men would work too hard, and the result for working hard was a family that was lost because they were absent.
Sure. Yeah.
You're still married, thank God. Have you seen people have that experience over your time?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's a hard thing to navigate as a friend and as someone who cares.
Yeah, absolutely. And you probably even have to take a step and go, well, why did someone go into business in the first place?
Right.
And I mean, I've never owned my own business, but I think ultimately it's for betterment, isn't it? Like it's
you want a better life, or
you want a better life. You want the freedom that
I don't even
that a business doesn't get you. You
don't get into business for freedom.
No,
right?
no, but you want your freedom. You want a life for your family. If those things aren't coming with the terrain,
the business,
what the hell are you doing? I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
That's why this channel exists, which is to show people that there is a better way, there is another way.
Yep.
That through processes, through machinery, through amazing contacts and reputations, it doesn't have to be so hard.
No.
There is a world in which cabinet making can be and is profitable.
Yes.
That you can work normal human hours, albeit there is a period in the season of a lot of hard work, but that doesn't have to be 20, 30 years of life.
No.
Because in that process, you miss out on so much that we all know that we don't get back.
I think so also too, you got to be fairly critical and honest with yourself too. Because, we talked before, we touched on, these guys aren't businessmen. They own a business.
That's right.
They've never been taught that, never been taught anything. How can you expect to succeed just on the smell of it? Like you need that help.
You do, right?
You do. You can't, well, you're setting yourself up to fail, aren't you?
Why would somebody go and make such big commitments that they almost can't keep with machinery and stuff, and then not go invest to get the help that they should have?
I just don't think they thought it through in that respect. They've just looked at their boss, who was taught by his dad.
I can do it.
He's not so great. I can do this. But I think everybody can do that, and that's why you have a lot of small to medium players, and the big end of town's a lot shorter.
And what would be a secret or something you've learned over the years outside of processes to take it from small, medium to large?
I think education of any sort would put you above most of the pack. Now, you don't have to be the top of the hill. You just need to be comfortable and successful.
And it's possible.
Absolutely, it's possible.
How many people or how many businesses in that industry, you may know this, I'm not sure of the number myself.
In our industry?
In cabinet making in Australia.
Oh, no, look, let's
not hazard a guess.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Because there's different levels of cabinet maker too.
Okay.
Like it's just, is the guy working from the shed at home, or is he?
Right. Okay, understood. And I think there's lessons to be learned from all of those guys at every level. Yeah. Because there isn't a reason why, with the right education and the right guidance and mentorship, that somebody couldn't ascend from that level, which is a one-man band, shed, his wife doing the bookwork, to the guy you've just described in Perth who's on four CNCs with inventory and the rest.
But there's actually nothing wrong with being a one-man band as long as you're efficient.
And it's fulfilling what you set out to do.
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, have a clear goal
Yeah.
is a really nice way to start.
Step one, guys. If you want
Clear goal.
clear goals, right? First step in anything.
This is what I want. I want to be working in a job this many hours a week. I want to go home on the weekends. I want to be home by a certain hour every day. Work backwards from that.
Why do you think us men struggle so hard to goal set?
Because we don't set goals. I mean, no, but look, you fail to plan. You plan to fail, don't you?
Like women from a young age might have a fairy tale wedding and they know what shoes they like and what trip they want to go on and when they want to have kids. Typically, boys aren't, at least from my observations over the past few years with hundreds of cabinet makers, we're not that way inclined. It's just an observation I've made from male and female. And I see it play out in an ugly way because you ask them, so what do you want for your life?
Yeah.
And they look at you like a freaking deer in headlights.
You know, because we touched on the kids before, so I've got my daughter's 11 and my boys are 9 and 6. And yeah, so my daughter's quite mature for 11, I think, you know, and my boys aren't. But that's okay. But yeah, I noticed the difference between the girls and the boys. You know, the boys, you know, they're running around, they're throwing sticks at each other. They're just, you know, the girls, they'll just walk around and they chat, they talk.
It's different.
It's different. And I think, you know, that when you talk to people, you actually learn stuff. You bounce stuff off each other and increases your globe. So I think as a result, they tend to have more in their head. They tend to have more to pull from.
Yeah, at an earlier age.
Yeah, and as a result, they tend to understand. Well, if I want that, I've learnt from having that conversation that I got to do that. So you know, they understand the steps to get to a goal.
Right.
They may not understand how to set a goal, but they already inherently understand there's some steps you need to take to get somewhere.
They understand the concept. And so I think maybe if you're watching this and you're a boy who grew up running around and playing like boys do, well, then when you fast forward 20, 30 years, you have to have that conversation in an environment that is an event, a mentorship, a group, something that allows you to have those adult level conversations of business to really start setting those goals and setting those plans in that path forward.
Yeah, and I think too, men can be quite proud. And think, okay, this problem I've got right now, that's unique to me. No one else has this. This is me.
Does it come from like pride, or is it like maybe fear driven for embarrassment?
Yeah, well, possibly. Yeah, could be too. But you know, I'm dealing with this, and I'm the only person in the world that's ever dealt with this.
Yeah, well, we coined the term super special snowflake syndrome.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's a long term, right?
Yeah.
But everyone thought they were a special snowflake.
Yeah.
We've worked with, as I said earlier, hundreds of cabinet makers over the past number of years, delivering systems and mentoring and guiding them. And I can tell you this, that nobody has a problem that is unique to them.
No.
Perhaps certain elements of the situation are special.
Yep.
However, at its core, when you would strip everything back, there can only be a root number of problems. And from that can sprout lots of heads. And we liken this to a tree.
Yeah.
Now, a strong tree is a strong tree. It could have many branches, many leaves, but at the core, at the roots, it's one kind of network. I think what I loved about when you said processes is that everything is interconnected.
Yep.
And in the world that we're moving to, and we're going to talk about AI in the future, it's really exciting because that interconnectedness now really is like dialed in and ramped up.
Yep.
But if you're not aware of that and you're having these proud moments or moments of embarrassment, shame, fear, or guilt, and you're not opening up to others, you're just setting yourself up for even more failure than you're probably already experiencing.
Sure. I heard a good one the other day that just to help me along as you go. When you've got a problem, write it down. Send a letter to yourself. By the time it comes back, you have a read of it and say, okay, where am I at now? You know, just stepping away from the problem a little bit, giving yourself a bit of distance from. How many times have, you know, someone comes to you with something and you said, well, you just got to do this.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah, it's just there.
But, you know, they can't see the forest for the trees. You know, you just snap out of it. This is all you got to do and you'll be right.
And I think that's so cool because in our software that we're building for cabinet makers called Cabby OS, Cabinet Makers Operating System, one of the functions we've created is a Dear Diary.
Yeah, right.
And the point of Dear Diary is logging your own issues
in
your own life. So let's think of it as a journal, but it's a work journal.
Yep.
Which takes down everything that you've ever faced,
Mm-hmm.
and then it asks you in a month or a week or a year. It's got these timers. Did you solve it? How did you feel about it at the time and now? And then it takes it into the brain and then automatically learns.
Yep.
And so all of this knowledge that you've accumulated from all these years that sit in here and give you a headache, and you can so quickly answer when somebody tells you, they can now be referenced because it's knowledge, and knowledge is power.
It's really important to reflect, isn't it?
It's so important, and it's
Because
so
you
really
make the
done.
same mistakes if you don't,
Yeah,
potentially.
and I think I learned this from Einstein, right? Is the same level of the level of thinking that got you here won't be what gets you there.
No.
So I look at a lot of these cabinet makers who are stuck between that 1 to kind of 4 million bandwidth.
Yeah.
They're struggling. They're having all the signs of burnout. They've got way too many staff, low margins, and they're on the cusp of like they're one more kitchen away.
Yeah.
It's just one kitchen. If this works, I can pay rent. I can go on a holiday for my family. I can do 5 days instead of 7, right? I can be human again. The thing that lets them down is that like there is no reflection.
Yep.
And simply if we started with the man in the mirror, or we had a mentor or a guide to hold us accountable to ourselves and bring those problems to light and guide us through them. And really a lot of guidance is just you saying it back out loud to yourself, being prompted. Very much like ChatGPT.
Yeah. I think too, okay, you do something wrong, or you do something wrong. You didn't get the kitchen, didn't get the business. You got to take a step back and say, well, I thought I had that. Why? Why didn't I get that? And you got to be analytical, and you got to be a bit confrontational. At the same time, when you do get the business, I think you've got to
same process.
Absolutely, and you don't. Yeah, people don't. Oh, I got that.
You're happy when you got it, and you might lose money, and then you're sad when you don't get it.
No, you tapped into something that works. Yeah. Figure out what that is.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just important. That's really important.
I think what I've observed over the years is people get sad when the thing they want doesn't happen.
Yep.
They get happy when they get the job.
Yes.
And probably the opposite is true, where they've got the job and lost money, so they should have been sad. And when they were sad, it might have been a good thing because the job was going to turn to shit.
Yeah.
Without proper metrics and proper self-awareness and visibility in a business, it's so hard to know what was good for you in the business if you haven't been able to measure it.
Self-awareness is, that's probably, no, that word, like, you know, we go back to, you know, balance.
Right.
You know, that's actually a perfect word for everything. You know, you're talking about
work and life.
Balance. It just that
so
self-awareness.
Perhaps we're discovering that there's 2 things that we're learning today that are super important for a cabinet maker trying to run a better business. In life and work, self-awareness.
Yep.
Close second, processes. Right.
I'll run with that.
Right.
Yep.
Because the processes also work for home.
Yep.
If you get home and you're running a system or a process that is you're grumpy, and you walk in with a crappy attitude, your wife will see it or smell it before you've opened that door.
Yep.
There is a process that I learned, which is put on your favorite song in the car, get yourself a little bit hyped up, have some water, pat yourself on the back, do something, jump if you have to, shake it out, open the door and say, hey, honey, I'm home.
Well, you can't take it home if it's bad, can you? Because you're just going to infect the house with it, you know?
And it happens so often.
Yeah. And you know, you talked about divorces and problems in marriage and stuff like that. I'm sure that's a big part of it.
It's insane.
You know? It's just you're bringing that sickness into the house.
You traveled all Australia, and you can name for me every pub, every sewerage, and every cemetery.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
But before we started rolling the film, you shared a little secret with me, and I'm going to prod you, and you only share with me what you think you can, but there's plans for expansion on the horizon.
We're, don't want to say too much about it, but look, I mean, SCM never stays still. You know, they're well into their 70th year now, 74 years from memory. And it's all about just developing in areas that they haven't been developed before. So, you know, where we've worked well in Australia is bringing high-end automation and solutions, high-end solutions to customers. We want to improve that footprint over Oceania in the coming 6 months to a year. So we're looking at further expansion into New Zealand, which is going to be very exciting.
Awesome.
Great manufacturing in New Zealand.
They're a great bunch of people. I've done quite a bit of work there, and I love the country. It's so beautiful. I live on a 100-acre farm, and so I love like my space. I love my greenery, but like you know, I mean, NZ
there's no shortage of greenery over there. But you know, I think, you know, as a country, generally speaking, they're more open to technology than Australians. You know, you go there and I say per capita, you just see so much more automation and thought going into manufacturing than
Processes.
processes than you do here.
Yeah.
Again, general broad brush, but yeah, I think they do it well.
Well, you heard it here first. SCM Group is crossing the ditch, and we'll leave it at that. Matt,
JP.
AI,
Yes. Wow.
right?
Yeah. Where? I got no idea. Yeah, look. You look at what we're doing with it today, and it's impressive.
Scary, impressive?
No, I wouldn't say scary. Look, people worry about. I mean, it's only scary because I like Terminator as a kid. But but if you look at, you're always going to need people. And AI is creative, but you look at something that's AI generated, it's AI.
For now.
I think my thoughts are you're always going to need people in a business because people want to deal with people.
Yeah, I think people don't buy from companies. We buy from people we like dealing with.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story.
Please.
I don't know if I want this in this later, but we'll talk about it.
That's for you.
But no, you can keep it going.
Yeah.
But we turned on an AI receptionist.
Yes, you told me. Yeah.
They hated it.
Okay.
Companies hated it. Just people ringing up. So look, it wasn't always the first port of call.
It was like a backup, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So if you called after hours,
or
if the lines were busy,
or if the lines were busy, you'd get diverted to the AI reception.
And how did that go?
Crash and burned. I don't think people were ready for it. Now our AI person always changed because you can tweak their personality.
Yes, I thought the actual person building it.
No. but you can tweak their personality.
Yeah, for sure.
So we did, males, females, assertive.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah.
Just trying to get the right formula. It's just people want to talk to people when they got a problem. They don't want to talk to
You had a really, really cool thing that we'd said, and in my research I found this was you're using AI internally to find cheaper parts or parts that are readily available.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a freaking great use case.
So that's just one little initiative that's come out in the last year or so. So they
walk me through that process
of what I know of it.
Yeah, please.
So SCM are like everyone else that they manufacture a certain amount of parts and certain things are off the shelf.
Okay.
Now from day to day, depending on who's got what and what's being produced,
inventory
can change dramatically. So SCM employed a company to develop a system for them that would basically troll the internet. And they just said, right, okay, all right, I've got this part. I want to buy this many. What's the best buy price?
Yeah. That's cool. So if you used to spend your time searching for parts for your SCM machine online, is it in stock? Is it available? When will I get it? How much will it cost? And you were doing this and you were wasting your time. And that was one of the reasons you weren't getting home on time. What we've heard now from Matt is you don't have to do that anymore because they're already doing it for you. What they're actually doing is you go into whatever their software is, whatever their tool is.
Just to the e-store.
You punch it in their e-store and it tells you everything you need to know. And it's shop for the best price.
Yep, absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah, but most importantly, we're passing those prices on. Yes.
Right. And I think it reminds me of the story with the guy who used AI to find him the cheapest pint of Guinness. And it would call 3,600 pubs. And it'd be like, there's the cheapest one. All right.
Nowhere near him.
Nowhere near him.
Off the limerick.
But it's really good that we've seen an actual use case.
Yeah.
And how was the client uptake for that being? So for the AI receptionist, maybe they're a bit reserved.
Yeah.
I mean, no one wants to not save money.
Yeah. I think it's one of those situations where if people aren't happy, you got to hear about it. If people are happy, it's just status quo. You just move on.
So it's been silent on the radio.
Yeah, which I say is probably a success.
Which is a 10 out of 10.
We we're just talking about after sales there. Just so much of what we're doing now is in that digital space and after sales, because really at the end of the day, You can buy a nesting machine from anyone, and if it's just nesting you're doing,
it's okay.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Yeah. There might be pluses for us. There might be pluses for them. You just marry it up and see if it works for you or it doesn't work for you. But at the end of the day, if that's all you're doing, that's all you're doing. What happens after that? Okay, I've got a problem in 6 months. What's the process? What's the step? Where do I go? What do I do? And that's really the space that we're living in right now.
And I can attest to that. So our dear friend, he's brought machines from you through and through for God knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
When I asked him why, do you know what his answer was? Other than that you're awesome to deal with? Service, service, service.
Yeah, good.
I go, did you not look at price or if there's anything better? He goes, well, would I? It's exactly how he said it.
Yeah.
I go, what do you mean? He goes, that's great. Gets the job done. Service is always top notch. End of story. And I thought, how great was that? It was that simple for somebody. That they didn't have to get caught up in the hype and the confusion of the latest models and the most flashiest object. They just wanted something that would work, that was reliable, that somebody like you who they could count on. And when the text came out, they'd fix the problem and away you go. I think he taught me is like, don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, that's.
And I think he's the gentleman who taught me that saying, which is when he went down the path of really trying to grow the business and there was many things to do. He laughed when he taught me this, but it was a matter of, if you want to get something done, you've just got to do it. And sometimes not everyone will see the vision.
I don't know.
And he was the one who said that.
I don't. Look, here's a good example of that, because the first CNC that went into that place. So at that point, it was still very much the mother and father's business. Yes. He just went away and just did his own thing, and came back to the fold. And he's talking to his dad about buying the CNC. But yeah, why would you need one of them? You're never going to make money with any one of them. That's ridiculous. Why would you do that? So him and his wife said, look, you know what? We'll buy the CNC. We'll own it. You rent it off us. Yeah, that machine's still there. We're 20 years later. That machine's still there, and others.
Yeah, for sure.
Others now. So it's just he didn't just come to the conclusion I need a CNC. He went places. He saw things. He saw different things. He saw different ways of doing things, and came back with knowledge, applied knowledge. I think, and actually when you look at even the progress of a cabinet making company in the last 25 years, but if I go back to the beginning, when I started in the industry, nesting wasn't a thing.
Okay, it wasn't.
No.
I've only ever known it to be that way.
Okay, yeah. So, well, look, it was around.
What were they doing before?
A lot of people didn't have CNCs.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to 25. I would say 1 in 10. Let's say small to medium.
Okay,
I like to do,
right.
Let's
sure.
break the sectors up a bit.
Yeah.
Small to medium manufacturers, 1 in 10 might have a CNC.
And what are you classifying small to medium, just for the sake of this conversation?
I would say, let's say one to 2 man shows up to say 10 to 13.
Perfect. So between 2 staff members to 13 is where we're talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
And 1 in 10 of those businesses would have a CNC.
Yeah, and obviously,
for sure,
10 to 13. But even a lot of them not. They were just, you had this thing, I can do it faster than a CNC.
God damn.
Well, you probably can cut faster than a CNC can route, but can you optimize as well?
Yeah, for sure.
Minimize your waste as well.
We're coming back to processes, right, and self-awareness, which is if you're just singularly looking at one task.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep.
Probably. When you're looking at efficiency and throughput in a manufacturing business,
no,
that's what we are.
It's a no-brainer.
We're profitable cabinet makers who want to run profitable manufacturing businesses and make money doing that.
Yep.
How's it even the thought process?
And again, it's probably only because someone doesn't know it. They just haven't seen it. They don't know it. So anyway, I noticed a long time ago, trends change. You had a lot more like solid timber doors and a lot more.
Yeah.
You just don't see that in a kitchen anymore. Maybe here.
No, not even here. Not even on like a 50-year-old farm homestead, right?
So, but you might find that someone has some equipment there to put together a solid timber door. Bench tops. They're doing their own bench tops.
Yes.
If they have a CNC, it's a point to point.
Yep.
And they're either cutting on a beam saw or a panel saw. But you had all this other peripheral machines. So they're doing their own bench tops. They might be doing their own doors, whatever it is.
Yes.
So and especially the more regional you go, the more you see of that.
Yeah, I realized the more regional the company, normally the more vertically integrated, which was they would do the paint, they would do the doors, they would do the bench tops.
Or paint, that's another one.
Right, they would try and absorb as much of that stack.
Yeah.
So that absorbing stonemason, absorbing painter, absorbing,
well, there's no local supply.
No, it was just easier to have it like one stop for everything.
Yep.
And I'm seeing that a lot more with the clients that we're mentoring.
Exactly.
Which is as things are getting dearer and as they're trying to grow, not necessarily they're trying to grow the cabinet making business. They're trying to grow the whole business.
So you're saying they're going vertically integrated?
I've started to see a lot more vertical integration now than when I did in early 23.
Interesting.
But there's a point. There's a point where they split and then say, no, I don't want this. And it's almost like the smaller the company will grow to a certain point.
Yep.
They'll think vertical integration is the key to unlock everything.
Yep.
Realize it may or may not have been the best path. Then they kind of entirely pull back, and they even go back to the point and say, maybe I don't even want to have installers, maybe I can sub that out as well.
Yeah.
So you see this kind of full circle. What we're also seeing is a traditional split that's up and coming of like what looks to be the future of manufacturing, which is you got more kitchen retailers and sellers, and then a lot more manufacturers, and that's the splitting of the back-end operation and the front-end office.
Sure.
So your sales, design, and estimation, given the AI tools that exist and the stuff that we're building for Cabby OS, it's really a lot easier now to move a lot faster in the front end.
I think that's what drove a lot of it 20 years ago too, because, even back then you had cut-to-size companies, but I don't think you had the smarts in the way of online ordering.
No, not 20 years ago.
The software's gotten so much better. So
it's seamless now.
Yeah, but back then I'm not using that.
I'm not an engineer. I'm not a software engineer.
I'm not using a cut-to-size company. They always get it wrong.
Okay.
And same with bench tops.
Yes.
So as these things got better, people said, why am I keeping a post forming machine here for 5 bench tops a week? That's ridiculous.
I can give it out to somebody else, get it better and faster, and it's just a service.
Yeah, and that's space now that I can do something in my factory. Do I need a bigger factory like this?
I can slap my margin on top and away I go. Like a lot more of being more process driven is happening.
Yeah.
So they'll go on a path of trying all these different things, figure out what worked and what didn't for them.
I was just going to say that if we look at that cabinet maker 20 years ago, and nesting was just becoming a big thing.
Yeah.
I think it made a lot of sense to Australian customers based on the fact that they're not doing a lot of repetition. Certainly a cabinet's a cabinet, and it's cabinet is a cabinet, but
it's a white carcass.
But at the end of the day, where I suppose pod and rail and beam saw manufacture is quite good for guys that are doing a lot of repetition. If you've got a multi-story dwelling and you might have six types of kitchen that they just replicate.
It's great for the apartment stuff where you're just running.
So you can, on a beam saw, you can stack it high, cut it, run it over the point to point. Where a nesting machine, every kitchen you do is slightly different.
Yeah, for sure.
So it just seems to make a lot more sense for an Australian manufacturer. And now where we were talking 20 years ago, 1 in 10 had one, it's probably 1 in 10 don't.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
We're living in interesting times here in Australia and the world. Things are getting tougher, dearer, tighter. For me, you're one of the titans, if you will, of the industry that have been there since the early 2000s. You've seen these cycles come and go before.
Mm-hmm.
What's some words of wisdom that you could share with us on what we're about to embark on as this next phase?
Yeah, look,
because people are anxious and unsure on what's going to happen.
You can't be silly, you can't be frivolous, but at the same time, you can't sit on your hands. If something needs to be done, it's got to get done. So you've got to keep on living.
That's true.
And as many times as we've all seen it, it comes, it passes, and it will always pass. So you've got to weather the storm. You don't close up shop. You might go lean, but you've got to look to the future.
And do you think that's the key, which is setting your sights back to that goal setting and having something in the future that you can anchor to? And
Absolutely.
Not being caught up in what happens currently in the day-to-day. Because it would, if you really did and you let it and it would make sense, it would just wipe you.
Look, the GFC was a real thing.
Right.
COVID was a real thing.
Yeah.
We believe COVID was.
Well, we were told.
Okay, but the
Right.
effects of this.
The
were
effect
real.
was, yes,
it was
for sure.
real. So,
That was
I mean,
undeniable.
you can't ignore the fact that it's there, but at the same time, you can't lose sight of the goal.
Mm.
So, okay, here's a roadblock. I don't know how big this roadblock's going to be, but we got to find a way to get around this.
Yeah, and then a belief that you will overcome it.
Absolutely, yeah.
We were speaking earlier about AI. One thing that you said at the start of this podcast was preventative maintenance.
Yep.
Something that I'm very passionate about, and I really don't know why.
Or predictive maintenance.
Yeah. I feel like maintenance traditionally is supposed to be that, but a lot of it became troubleshooting when it went wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking in life. I'm not necessarily talking in machinery. What is predictive maintenance? And why is it so important?
Yeah. Okay. It's a good question. So for many years now, we've had a control room in HQ in Italy where we have machines that are hooked up to the control room, and it's just basically monitoring it, just pinging the whole time, just understanding what the machine's doing. So it's collecting the data that's collected at the machine. So that can be, work cycle. It can be how much it's being used. All the data. From that, we are actually getting real value of components on the machines, for example. So we can understand now why a guy 10 years ago, I don't know, had a part that went in 6 months, and another guy had a part that went in 10 years. So we're collecting information like that.
So we know that now.
Yeah, we understand, okay, the average lifespan of that part is actually this.
Okay.
So, we can now look at these machines. Customers are getting emails saying, hey, look, we've just noticed this anomaly.
Okay.
This could be a chance of happening.
Have a look.
Have a look at it. Might be worth ordering the part.
Oh, that's awesome.
Have it on your shelf.
And that goes back to the way that it finds the fastest, cheapest, best part.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it all ties
That's a really cool loop, right?
Yeah, it is.
And so for the person who thought that buying a machine is like a one and done, and then you call when something's wrong, that's not actually true.
No. And you see that in the cheaper side of the market too, that one and done. Like, okay, I bought that and now I can't do anything with it. There's no support.
Here you go.
Your cheapest machine can be your most expensive investment.
Ooh.
You like that?
Yeah.
No, it's true though, isn't it? I mean, if there's nothing, put the value in the machine that's cheap.
Give me that again. Give the camera that again.
The cheapest machine could be your most expensive investment. That's right.
That's a whole different take on the poor man pays twice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For sure.
Poor people shouldn't buy cheap things.
Yeah, that too. I love that. That's a good one.
But it's bang on, isn't it? Like
that's right.
It says it all. I mean, you can have a very heavy paperweight sitting on your floor. You know what I mean? Like if it doesn't. Hey, look, and I mean, I won't name names, but we go back
for sure
10, 15 years ago. There was a bit of a breakaway from one of the larger manufacturers. A couple of their technicians left and started bringing in some machines from wherever, China, I guess.
Sure.
And they, because they were technicians and they knew certain customers, they approached these customers and they bought the machines in good faith, and it all went belly up. The business just died, and then there's, I don't know, 30, 40 machines out in the market that are just
crap,
useless. No one can work on them. No one can get parts for them.
They're bits of metal.
Absolutely. It's just expensive scrap.
I think there's a real truth in that, which is you can buy a machine as a machine, or you could buy a machine as part of your systems and your processes.
Yeah.
And it's just another cog in the bigger wheel of the business.
Yeah.
That serves a purpose to get things done. And if you would see it through that lens and you would go down the proper path, contact someone at SCM, what you'd be able to see is that if you could document what that goal was and you had a higher level for that, and you were adamant that you were going to get there no matter what life threw at you.
Sure.
You figured out what your processes were, then you went to somebody like yourself and said, tell me what you can plug in and what you can automate and fix for me.
Yep.
Then you start seeing the machine as part of a wheel in this much larger picture, as opposed to just an investment of money as one and done.
Well, that's exactly what we do.
And that's so good, because now I have a business that's making money, that's profitable, that is automated,
Yep.
that is serviced. I have support.
Yep.
And all of these things can be done through one company.
Absolutely. Add MES to that.
Jesus.
You just.
So watch this
you can
space.
See, you can see everything. You can see everything in your business.
Ultimate visibility.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, I'm going to ask you some questions. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm going to ask you some questions, and you just give me the answer.
Go.
Are you ready?
No.
Awesome. Most factories are behind because?
Process.
We already got that one earlier. Automation creates problems when? And you can't say process again.
Okay, but I would like to say adding automation to a bad process just means you have bad process with automation involved.
Agreed. If your machine breaks, the real problem is actually? Depends.
Of course it does. Look, downtime is such a, put a price on it. Put a price on it. It's...
So maybe this question should be reworded. If your machine breaks, the real problem isn't you. That's why we have predictive maintenance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
The biggest waste in factories is not labor. It is?
You don't want me to say process. It's like a process.
And downtime, I guess, which is really comes back to labor again.
Yep.
In 10 years, in your opinion, as Matt Gabbett from SCM, factories will look like?
I would like to see factories how we've just talked about it now. So a full integration, understanding where everything is in the system, from go to woe, nothing's left to chance.
I love that. Most manufacturers are broke because?
They don't look at the big picture. They don't think of the big game.
The biggest waste in factories is?
Biggest waste any time is a missed opportunity, isn't it?
That's a more philosophical, which is, I think, on a deeper level, it's like time.
Time, but there's a missed opportunity in that as well.
The timing of the opportunity.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at anything in a factory and go, okay, well, I could be doing that better because of this. That's a missed opportunity.
And automation is overrated when?
I wouldn't automate for the sake of automating. Again, it's the situation where don't go for what old mate down the road's got. Have the chat. Understand what you need to do. Automation may be part of it. Automation probably is part of it. But don't just go in there with the blink and say, well, he bought that, so that's going to be good for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are watching this and doing things, and I can't believe I've heard it so much. It's driving me nuts. I never knew cabinet makers were coders and engineers, and I think the fallacy of AI is that everyone can do everything.
Sure, yeah.
And that's become very damaging for people like us. I'm not sure about you, but in the space that we're playing in with the creation of software and tools, I see that anyone thinks they can mock up anything instantly. And that is true to a degree. You can.
Yeah.
But to have it working properly is a whole different issue.
Yes.
Automating just for the sake of automating because everyone else is doing it without the understanding of what it's supposed to solve is one of the biggest wastes of time.
Yep.
Because you just should have been doing what you were good at. And one of the things I see is I'm automating for the sake of automating. And sometimes they create a process that didn't even have to exist.
Yep.
And so I think when people bring a sense of awareness to what they're actually trying to do, going through things on a pen and paper or a whiteboard or whatever it is and saying, like Elon Musk said this, can I cut it? Do I have to have it? Can I make it dumb or can I remove it?
Yep.
And then I can add it back if I need it. A lot of people I see just adding.
Can I? Yeah, well, okay.
And it's insane.
Can I add to that? Because
please,
you look at the top 20% of the the industry. They weren't the top 20% to begin with. They grew to that point, and quite often they grow to that point under the same roof.
Yes.
So you can you talk about a big problem in manufacturing. You can go into a factory and you can automatically understand that it's just tied up in knots. The flow is not there.
No.
The process is not there.
Yeah.
They've grown, they've had a need, and they've plonked something there to fix the need. Where at some point you actually have to take a step back and go, all right, I need another CNC to do this. But actually, is that the right solution? Do I have to come back to this point? instead of start over here, because really that bit might flow, and then there's a little bit just jumbled in here,
Right.
and then there's some more flow out
It's
here.
a hot mess.
You see, just because of the way the company might have progressed, you see assembly in front of a CNC machine. You see an edge bander at the other end. Look at the inefficiency in this place.
And that's been the fear with automation, is they don't actually look at things from the highest level.
Yeah.
They just, everything is the way it is, and then they're trying to fix it separate.
Yeah, and they think, okay, well, the CNC is going to fix it for me right now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, it'll give you the capability to do what you need to do. But where's the efficiency? And actually, if you untied the knots of the efficiency, maybe the investment of all the automation isn't so expensive.
No. And coming back to the tree earlier and the root cause, once we can solve that through good mentorship, through good guidance, good counseling and understanding, what is it that you're trying to do?
Yeah.
How do we get to those numbers and metrics? How do we hold you accountable? And how do you go through the process with a partner like Empire Blueprint and a tool like CabbyOS, machines like SCM, all that future is possible.
Absolutely.
I can't thank you enough for coming out today.
Thanks, JP.
So it's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Good on you.
And for those of you watching, you heard it here first. SCM's coming to New Zealand in some point in time. And please, we're going to leave Matt Gabbett's contact details below. If you need anything, you can contact him. I'll leave everything for you in the link. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
That was great, mate.
How was it?
It was good.
You did well.
Thank you.